Folks, this is Tales from the Building Code Department. I want to share with you a story about we'll just call him, we'll call him Glenn. Now, when I was a building official up in this little old county, I had this old boy work for me, an inspector named Glenn. Now, Glenn was probably 6 foot tall, but he was skinny as could be, probably 145, 150 pounds. Nervous kind of fella. Chain smoker, smoked all the time. And drove me nuts about some things. One of the things was we used to have a badge on our shirts, and also we had a little badge we put on our belts because sometimes we had to write, a summons for something, and usually it was a, very minor misdemeanor offense. But one year I changed the shirts and took the badge off, just put the name of the county on there. Glenn went and ordered his own shirts with a badge on it. Somebody told me once that Glenn, when he was cutting the grass on Saturdays at his house, would be out there in his shorts and no shirt on, but he'd have that badge on his hip the whole time. So I don't know if that was true or not. But anyway, Glenn was a nervous kind of fellow. So Glenn's in his pickup truck one day, I guess, riding down the road, and he calls me up and at the office. He said, "Oh, you got to get down here. You got to get down here right now. Somebody just threw a rock out the window of a school bus, and they busted my windshield. They just busted my windshield all to pieces." And I said, "Oh, my goodness, are you okay?" He said, "Yeah." He said, "I'm pulled over now." I said, "Well, where you at?" And he told me, he said, "I pulled the bus over too. I told him to pull over." I said, "Okay, I'll be there in a few minutes." So I jumped in the vehicle. I grabbed our code enforcement officer, a guy we called Big John, and had him go with me because he was used to be on the highway patrol, and I thought he might be help. So we get there, and Glenn is sitting in his truck, nervously trying to light another cigarette. And there, about eyeball level on his windshield, is this little bitty starburst of a spot. And he said that's where the rock's hit. Now, I don't know what he called busting the windshield, but I didn't call it that. Anyway, my goodness. So the school bus is pulled over. So me and Big John go up there, and the lady driving the bus, she opens the door. John goes up first, and I go up behind him. I said, "Man, we're going to get you going back to school." She said, "Well, that officer pulled me over, so I wanted to wait till somebody told me to go." I said, "Okay." Now, all I can imagine is Glenn must have pulled up beside her on the highway, and, uh, you know, my mind goes back to old Barney Fife, and I'm thinking, citizens arrest, citizens arrest. So anyway, he pulls them over. Well, Big John, he hollers out to all them kids on the bus. He said, "Okay, who threw the rock out the windshield and busted that? Who threw the rock out the window and busted that guy's windshield?" If there was 42 people in that bus, I promise you, 40 fingers went to the very back of the bus to the two boys in the back. Now, these two boys had got them a bag of marbles, and what it was, they were throwing marbles at. So we had the bus go on, and Big John called the resource officer, and we met at the school, and the boys had to do some community service and stuff like that. Old Glenn, I just pulled over a school bus. Now, for Christmas that year, of course, one of the guys said, "Yeah, they did it. Yeah, they did. I promise you." They they had him all nice and neatly wrapped up there. When he opened up his present, it was a little children's book called "The Wheels on the Bus." Tales from the Building Code Department.